So you believe in the pot sector, the marijuana and cannabis names, but you don't know how to trade them. In this video, I will outline step by step a bullish day trading pattern that you can use to trade the sector. Get a peek into the trading done on a professional proprietary trading desk and a trade made in the pot sector from our desk in this next trading video. Hi, I'm Mike Bellafiore, managing partner of SME Capital, a proprietary trading firm located in Midtown Manhattan, and I'm also the author of the trading classic One Good Trade and the Playbook. Click our subscribe button so you don't miss any of our trading videos produced for the trading community. In this video, we're going to share how to make a bullish trade in the pot names with a favorite trading pattern from our desk. This trade also possesses the benefits of giving you exposure to the pot sector, learning how to think through a trade like a pro, offering an excellent risk-reward opportunity. It appears daily, learning how to trade Sympathy Plays so that you can use other names in a sector to make more informed trades. So stick around. There's going to be a ton to learn in this video to profit in this hot sector. If you want to learn 3 more real-world setups that our traders use, including the simple setup that we teach all of our new traders and the setup that turned one of our traders into a 7-figure big money earner, well, check out our free webinar that we're currently running. Just go ahead and click this link to sign up for our free webinar right now. Okay, so how do we express a bullish thesis, controlling our risk reward responsibly in the pot sector? Let's go over a very specific trade you guys can learn and utilize. So the general trade overview, I love actually doing this. We're going to talk about the specific trade in a little bit, but I also like to think about if we were to make this trade 1,000 times, what would be our general outline for how we would attack this trade? And so our general trade overview in this particular trade is we want to identify a wedge consolidation in a stock after a strong up move. We want to see elevated RVOL, relative volume. We want to buy small, anticipating the breakout. When we see that wedge pattern, we want to add full size in the breakout. We want to see a breakout with increasing volume. We want to sell one lot as momentum fades. So we're taking our profits. We're going to hold the rest until there's a reason to sell. We'll watch the leaders in the pot names for sympathy plays and information. The bigger the wedge, the bigger the potential breakout. So why not buy and hold? Mike, this is a hot sector. Why not just find a spot to get in it and hold it for a long period of time? Won't we make more money? Isn't that a better way to attack it? We certainly could do that. That's investing. This is trading that I'm talking about. We're going to stick to our niche in markets. All right, Mike, so you're sticking to your niche in markets. Why not swing trade it on a short-term basis? Okay, that's perfectly reasonable. I'm not going to talk about that particular trade in this video, but the principles from what I talk about today could be applied if you're thoughtful to that time frame as well. I will say that on our desk, one of our traders, actually 2 of our traders, now I think about it a little bit more in depth, 2 of our traders were long the stock that I'm going to talk about around the 60 to 70 cent area in this CBSI. And they were long with really, really long size, and they were playing it for a home run trade, and they had done the research about how this particular name was undervalued, and there was going to be news catalysts coming up in the pot sector, and this was something that they wanted to get out in front of and give it a run. And a couple of them did very well holding it for a longer period of time, making that sort of longer term swing trade in this. We're going to focus on an intraday trade for the purposes of this discussion. It offers an excellent risk reward, and the trade I'm going to talk about also has the benefit of you don't have to be right overall about direction. So these pot names, they can go up too much and then pull in quite a bit. And so if you're just sort of buying and holding, you can buy it at the wrong price and really get stopped out for a tough loss. And the trade we're talking about, we're trading the volatility in the sector. We don't have to necessarily be right overall. Here's a picture of our SPY charts. I bring this up because we always want to know when we're making a trade where we are in the overall market. If the market had been really weak and we are really bullish on this particular sector, that might drag down our idea. Or if the market overall is really strong, that might give us more confidence to play a bullish theme. SPY on the 1 minute chart, strong opening drive on the day we're going to be talking about, followed by a wedge consolidation pattern, holding above VWAP. So the market long-term's in our favor. The market intraday is in our favor. CBSI intraday fundamentals. Here's the information I want to know about a stock before I actually trade it. In my book, One Good Trade, I talk about one of the fundamentals to putting on a good trade being properly prepared. So here is some of the information that you want to be properly prepared in a stock. So what's the float? Float in the stock is about 80 million shares. The short float, not listed yet, but good job looking to see what it would be. The average volume in the stock is 3 million. The ATR is 0.9. The company focuses on developing and commercializing prescription drugs utilizing cannabis. CBSI, so it's in this hot sector. It's in this hot pot sector. CBSI had run from 50 cents to 8 over the course of 4 months. That's a pretty good return. The chart was overextended and started to look parabolic. Had a very strong sell-off, 60% off of the highs. For those of you playing at home, Citron came out with a hit piece on it and caused the stock to drop intraday after they called it out for trading at such high levels. Recent price action, and so this is after that hit piece had come out. Recent price action in CBSI was likely fueled by the activity in CGC, which was breaking to new highs on news of a $4 billion investment from Constellation Brands. So it's a hot sector, and there's real large money coming into the sector. It's becoming legitimized. A real company is putting real money into this sector. So it's moving from speculative to speculative with confirmation from real money. CBSI on the daily chart. You can see it has really run up from where our two guys had captured it before the huge run up from 50 cents all the way up to 8. Had a little bit of a hiccup when Citron came out with its research report, is now trying to figure out what to do after that report. CBSI on the 5-minute chart. You can see accelerated buying the previous day, followed by a sharp sell-off marked by the end of a parabolic move. And given the size of the sell-off, a large bounce could be expected. Because you want to know why that stock pulled in. Well, it pulled in because there was a research hit piece that went out. Looking at the 1-minute chart. So when we look at this 1-minute chart, we're getting this wedge pattern form. You can see the wedge pattern forming right here through most of the morning. And you notice the decreasing volume into this wedge. Okay, and then when we get above the wedge, we want to look at our volume as we talked about in our initial variables, and we want to look for a surge in volume. So we're getting declining volume in the breakout with a wedge pattern, getting an ascending triangle wedge pattern. The stock is holding above VWAP. We get this really strong move to the upside with very large volume. So we're getting that first variable that we talked about, that strong opening drive. We get that right here. And we get the volume confirming that there are real buyers in there. When we get our wedge pattern, we get a really tight wedge pattern, which we love. In that wedge pattern, volume is declining. In this wedge pattern, we're getting an ascending triangle. We want to, when we get outside of this wedge pattern, we want to see the volume surge, and we're getting that as well. So we talked about sympathy plays. So the leader, and this is a working thesis on our desk, was that CGC was the leader in the pot names. And in fact, I received a note from one of our guys in his daily report card, and he wrote, the pot stocks were moving, and this is a theme that one of the traders and he had been monitoring since CGC came out with earnings. CGC had been a leader, but TLRY and CRON had been moving in sympathy. And this has been a good opportunity to get better at thematic sympathy plays. And so guys were tracking it. You had CGC as the leader. You had TLRY, CRON, CVSY, all in the pot space. And guys were watching the leaders to see if that would give leading indicators as to where some of the other lesser names in the space would go next. And so I love this idea of, hey, where has CGC come from and what is it doing while we're thinking about buying the stock when it's in a wedge pattern? You can see the run up in CGC, and then we want to peek at this 1 minute chart to see if it's going to give us a leading indication as to what's going to happen with CVSI. Now on this day, it doesn't mean we're going to only go by that, but we're trying to make really informed decisions. And one of the things that I recognize working with really some of the best traders in the prop space is that the best traders put a series of variables together to make more informed decisions. The underperforming traders lack enough variables with their setups to make consistent money. And so always looking for, hey, what can give us a more informed decision? So looking at the leader recently in the pot names can be a variable that gets us to have more confidence in buying the stock. So we're going to peek at it. Okay, so we're going to note that CVSI was strong when CGC sold off, both at the open and in the morning. And CVSI is showing this relative strength. So we get the leader really, really selling off, and we got CVSI really holding up. It's showing us this relative strength overall. And in this case, this is a little bit more of an advanced thought, but it's actually giving us more confidence that there's a bid and buyers in that stock on this day because it's not trading lower like we would expect it, like CGC is doing on this particular day. We're looking at KRON, another pot name in the sector. It's in the same sector, traded similarly, though it seemed that CGC was the leader. We're going to peek in at this as well. All right, so how's this doing overall? Peeking in at CGC, peeking in at CRN, peeking in at TLRY. Checks in our favor. The marijuana stocks had been hot recently. CVSI showed relative strength when compared to CGC and KRON. So what are we doing with these checks in our favor? We're thinking about what are the reasons why we might be right in the play? What are the reasons why we might be wrong in the play? What's the counter thesis to our particular trade? Why should we be in this trade? And we're constantly thinking about the checks in our favor and the checks against us as we're thinking about getting into a trade. We're constantly reevaluating whether this is a good play or a bad play. We're not just wedded to the idea that this should go up. We are traders. We are absorbing information. Check to see how CGC, TLRY, CORN are trading. The SPY was in our favor, strong and wedging at the same time. The size and speed of the crash in CVSI increased the likelihood of a large bounce. So we had that Citron hit piece. It pulled in way further than you would think. So it's got room to bounce. CVSI wedge held above support, as seen in the chart, held above VWAP. That's a great indicator that we're using on an intraday basis and lasted for an hour and a half, which implied a large resulting move. A tight wedge pattern gets lots of people short, lots of people long, lots of people short, lots of people long. And a stock in play, you're going to get a rubber band effect. It's going to really move away from that wedge pattern. Largest liquidity day ever was the day before, so any funds shorting large size would have to cover soon to guarantee that they got filled at a reasonable price. So those are the checks in our favor. Great exercise to be going through when you're in a name. Don't just sit there and say, I'm right. What are the reasons why you might be right? What are the reasons you might be wrong? Evaluate. Trade management in this idea. Okay, we want to buy when the wedge is established around this time, once an upward support line and downwards resistance line can be clearly drawn. So we're buying into the bottom of the wedge. We're getting long size here to anticipate the move as we're getting our ascending triangle and as time is going by, where this wedge pattern is holding above VWAP, we're buying a little bit more. And then we're going to buy more on the break of the wedge as volume increases. Okay, so we're looking here. You can see the volume does increase. It does increase when we break out of this wedge pattern. That's very important. Do we get that volume increase? We do. But even more, we're going to buy even more once it holds above the wedge for a few minutes. And we're going to take some risk off at the top of the wedge trend line for these lots. And so one of the things that I recognize that elite traders do is they take profits. All right, so some of you just want to buy it and hold it. For this type of trade, and for the traders that I work with, one of the things that I'm recognizing and noticing amongst them is that they're not buying and just holding. They're making trade decisions. They're not just buying and holding and predicting they're going to be right. They're buying, and as they are right, they're selling when they can. They're taking profits. They're taking risk off the table into sharp up moves. So we take some off into the initial move, and we're going to take some more off into that 590 area as it's having trouble making a new high. We have a time clock in our head. We expect it to go higher. As it pulls in and can't make a new high, we're going to take some risk off the table. And then when we can't hold that consolidation area at higher levels around this 580 level, we're going to get flat and start over again. All right, just like we're going to buy more here and add more at another tier as the ascending triangle is holding higher, when we're not making new highs up towards the 6 area and time is passing, we're going to take a little bit of risk off the table. All right, great pattern, powerful pattern. You'll see it every day. Great way to express risk in a bullish sector in a responsible way for your trading. All right, always good to go over how you can improve in a particular trade, what you've learned. All right, what you've learned. You learn the pot names that are most in play that we're watching on our desk. You're learning a powerful trading pattern to trade this sector, a powerful trading pattern, that wedge pattern holding above VWAP after it has a strong opening drive. We talked about, and you learned sympathy trades. We learned how to take profits in a trade. And as always, the thing I hope you learn most about these videos is how to think like a professional trader. That's the biggest reward that you can take away from a video like this. Hey, so go ahead and click our subscribe button so you don't miss any of the trading videos produced for the trading community. And please add your feedback in the comments section for what videos you'd like us to produce next and what you found helpful from this video. From all of us at SMB, trade well.